First of all, I'll just give an update on the conference I attended of the heads of government with the Caribbean community that took place in Jamaica between July 3 and 7. This meeting was a very important one as heads of the government from across the region met and deliberated on matters of critical importance to the Caribbean community, including strategies focused on building resilience in disaster management and recovery, the engagement of youth, crime and violence and security, evaluation of institutions, and a renewed focus on partnering for development. The Caribbean community has 15 member states and 5 associate members. The British Virgin Islands is an associate member. As we are in the hurricane season, we spoke about the disaster management and recovery program. We recognize that we all have one thing in common, and that is our vulnerability to natural hazards. We spoke extensively about the effects of climate change, which remain key challenges to sustainable development, and we deliberated on innovative approaches that are now required in the era of what we call superstorms. We also have collectively placed great emphasis on comprehensive disaster management, which remains core to the achievement of a resilient Caribbean community. We are committed to promoting and maintaining the regional response mechanism coordinated by Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, and at the same time enhance our physical infrastructure, social, economic, and environmental policies. Another critical part of the meeting for us was a discussion about the constitutional relationship of the overseas territories and the United Kingdom. Heads of government note with a great concern the amendment approved by the UK House of Commons to the Sanctions and Anti-Money Laundering Bill, requiring the UK government to ensure that the British overseas territories, but not the Crown dependencies, establish public registers of beneficial ownership information by no later than 31st December 2020. I am pleased that members express their solidarity with the territories adversely affected by this unilateral action to legislate in areas of domestic policy constitutionally evolved to the territories without the consent and involvement of their people. It was noted at the meeting that the action ran counter to an alternative arrangement to public registers earlier negotiated and agreed with the United Kingdom government and put in place at great cost to the overseas territories. In fact, heads of government viewed this action as similar to the unilateral and punitive extraterritorial measures such as blacklisting and the risk taken against their own countries' financial services sector, also a critical aspect of their economies, despite their best efforts at transparency and compliance. So we are pleased that as OTs, we were able to secure CARICOM's collective support in helping us to further address this issue of beneficial ownership. Overall, it was a very good and exceptional meeting. Thank you. Now, happy to answer your questions.
In terms of CARICOM support, yes, they said that they stand in solidarity with BVI and the other OTs. But how far does this support go? Would they just stop there? I mean, yes, they're in solidarity with us, they understand what we're going through, but would their support stop there, or CARICOM plans to take it further, probably right into the UK or any other measure?
I think that was the initial discussion. Now what will happen is that the leaders in CARICOM, they'll have some discussions on the way forward with the Secretariat. This has happened before. We've had discussion with CARICOM and the OASIS before on support in other matters involving beneficial ownership and other matters dealing with EU matters as well. And what they tend to do, they will give the voices support in a communique such as this, but they also would write as necessary to other organizations which may be influential in these matters.
Okay, I have another question. It has to do with shelters and hurricane season. Had Beryl hit last week, Sunday, into Monday morning, would we have been prepared in terms of people finding emergency shelters?
We have been preparing. I know that all the emergency shelters were not quite ready, but quite a number of them were ready. Remember, I'm not sure, well, this probably was not made public, but we did set aside a certain amount of money to having those structures repaired about a month ago. And so there has been work going on in doing that.
Yeah, but much more work needs to be done on them, and is the public really aware of exactly what are the new shelters? Because I understand 26 buildings will be used, but if the public understands exactly, well, if something happens, where do I need to go?
Yeah, this is a matter that would be addressed by the DDM. They will be putting out statements about which shelters are ready and who are supposed to go to which shelters. And imagine they'll also be putting out statements as to who will be managing the shelters and where persons would call to get information about that.
Premier, could you provide an update on the status of the potential legal challenge that government might be making to the UK bill that was passed in May?
What we are doing at the moment is looking at all the avenues available to us as an overseas territory to be able to see where we can work with the relationship with the United Kingdom as far as the beneficial ownership is concerned. As you recall, in my last statement, I said that, as you know, this was not a move that was made by the government in power. It was an amendment put in by the opposition. And because of numbers, they were able to pass it through. So we will continue our discussion with the United Kingdom, better and through negotiations, to continue diplomatic discussions, and including where necessary legal resource to be able to determine, to get some resolution to the matter. I cannot say in which direction, will be taken first or when, but that's where we are at the moment.
Premier, first of all, are you aware of the letter Lord Ahmad would have sent to the Decision March Committee?
Okay.
Okay, let me continue. The letter effectively said that from Lord Ahmad that the BVI should consider respecting the will of Parliament, the UK Parliament, that is. So my question now is, with that state of mind, do you think negotiations are still on the table between in coming up with a resolution on this matter, something that is amicable to both parties?
A couple of years ago, we had the same issue with beneficial ownership, and there was much discussion, and over a period of time, we were able to come to a resolution that worked well for both the United Kingdom and for the overseas territories. The countries, in fact, this was actually led by the BVI, and we spent quite a significant amount of money putting in place a system that would have been able to give the UK authorities the information they needed. So it came as a surprise to us that this new initiative from the UK came so soon after we'd set that system in place.
So that's a yes, you believe a resolution can be found?
I think there's always room for discussion in any matter.
Premier Malika McPherson, the Island Sun newspaper. You mentioned that the government is weighing its options as it relates to the beneficial register of interest matter. But, Premier, what about constitutional amendment? That is something I note that the Cayman Islands is pushing for, and that's something that the BVI was considering even before this UK's decision. And it is one of the issues that has been raised, considering constitutional overreach. Is that something that you're going to be pushing for while you weigh the other options?
Yeah, of course. In fact, as you said, we started that discussion from early last year, but I was interrupted by the hurricanes, and so that discussion now will continue. And we will work here in BVI, putting together our thoughts, and we'll engage with the UK on constitutional change. What we'll be doing also is having discussions with the other OTs, because we see this matter of constitutional advance as affecting all the country, all the overseas territories. So we all be working together on these matters.
And just to follow up before my next question, how soon are you planning to consider the constitutional amending?
We've already begun to do that.
Premier, the last time we were here, you were talking about your trip in Asia, and I didn't get to ask you. Can you give us an update on the fintech plans that government was considering? You did note that you wanted a committee established, but we didn't hear anything further on that.
We've actually had a very interesting trip in Asia, and we're expecting a visit from a contingent, so to speak, a group, to further discussions with the BI officials here about the possibilities in the area. Very shortly. I can't give you the exact date, but very soon.
Just to follow up, the visit has to do with fintech
Yes.
specifically?
It does, yeah.
So the committee will not be established until the group visits?
Now the committee will be established and, can start doing their research and their work. But the discussions with that group will be critical to moving forward.
And how soon is the committee to be established?
It should be established any day now, yeah.
Premier Smith, my question has to do with the fintech as well, and of course I know the conference is coming up the 23rd of this month, and I think one of the issues they're going to be talking about is cryptocurrency. Is that a new thrust the government is looking at in terms of revenue generating measure, and exactly how does the cryptocurrency work?
What we're looking at from the fintech area is largely for us a matter of efficiency. What will help us to do here, to be more efficient in doing whatever, whether it's banking, government processes, that's the main thing that we see. As you recall, we had the soft opening of our first digital bank, right? And that also is in the same area. When it comes to the other aspects of fintech, it's something we have to look at carefully, right? We talk about different currencies and so, blockchain and that sort of thing. It's something that has to be looked at very carefully because while it sounds exciting and there are huge possibilities, there are also challenges which we have to sort out before we can really, get
So
too
you're not
involved.
necessarily heading in that direction now, you're just looking at it and discussing in the cryptocurrency aspect.
Yeah, we just have to explore what is available and what is possible. And
Premier, 2 weeks ago, the members of the opposition asked questions to you about BVI Airways. I'm just curious, Premier, do you personally believe that contracting with BVI Airways was a mistake?
What I do believe and what I do know is that air access is one of the single most important things for the continued improvement and development of the economy of the BVI, especially in the area of tourism and in business development. In order to get air access, there are two options. One, we expand the airport and hope that some larger airlines will put a service in. To be more specific, getting a route established with the airline company would be more immediate and be able to establish the air access that we need. So to me, it was a very important thing to be able to try to improve that air access. And getting arrangement with a group or airline company that could provide it, I think was a good thing. Of course, we had challenges because of the relationship we had, and the flight did not happen, as you know. But we are still pursuing discussions, so to speak, being advised by our Attorney General as a way forward with that group.
I don't think anyone in the territory would ever doubt the merits of improving airlift capacity. I'm just asking, do you think government had lapses in due diligence with choosing the company that they did? I mean, considering especially that some of its executives operated an airline for 23 years that never flew a flight.
The group that we got involved with was highly recommended by some of our legal counsel. And also we had discussions with them, and we sent representatives, that is our financial secretary, and the chairman of the tourist board visited and had discussions with them. That's the reason we went forward, because it seemed from the presentation it was a good deal based on what was presented to us.
Also, last follow-up. You said that government had difficulty obtaining a line of credit due in part to some of the negative noise surrounding the BVI Airways contract. Just to clarify, are you discouraging members of the opposition and members of the media from questioning the merits of government contracts?
No, not at all.
Okay, then could you expand further on why you chose to blame some of the negative noise for the government's ability to not access the line of credit?
You can say blame, but I wouldn't say blame. What I do know is that all institutions, whether it's banking institutions, whether it's business institutions, whether it's the United Kingdom government or any other institution, they would naturally listen to and hear what's going on in the territory, right? And of course, any institution will take what is going on in the territory, take into account when they're making decisions. This does in no way, am I saying that the press has not got the right to make the statements that they wish to make, or the opposition.
Sir, it's been months now since you said, we've been trying to reach BVI Airways, we issued a notice of breach and we're waiting and we're being advised and that sort of thing. Even in Parliament yesterday, Junior Minister for Tourism, Archibald Christian, said, not yesterday, it would have been Tuesday, said, well, we can't find them, but in the agreement between BVI Airways and government, it said that as it relates to dispute in breach of contracts or anything like that, the American Arbitration Association would be the body that would be required to resolve that any dispute, and their word would be final. Has there been any attempts from government, being that the progress seems stagnant, to approach the American Arbitration Association, to help them resolve this?
What I would say to that is that the progress may seem slow to you, but these things do take time when it comes to resolving issues such as this. We have, for example, a case involving an extradition that's been going on for years. Right? So it's it's a matter of what the progress is, a matter of the discussion that take place between the lawyers or who represent the government and the information we need to carry, to continue the discussions. And I cannot tell you today that will end tomorrow. That's the court we're dealing with.
Sir, could you pinpoint, you said this is a long process. Okay.
No, I didn't say it a long. I said sometimes these court matters that take to court take long time, right? Yeah. And you cannot determine when you start a process that will end in 2 days or a week or whatnot. And I did suggest to you, in fact, said that some cases do take. We have a case, as I said before just now, where the extradition is going on for years. Right?
You're interacting with BVI Airways right now, right? Your government is interacting with them actively.
What I did say to you that I'm being advised by the Attorney General on this matter right now.
Yeah, I understand, sir. I'm asking if you're actively interacting with them.
You know what I just said? Yeah.
Your minister said on Tuesday, your junior minister, that they cannot be found. And I know earlier on you said they seem to be legit at the time, or they seem to be on the up and up. So is it safe to say that they probably were just cons?
Let me put it this way. We entered into an arrangement with this group to establish this airline because we thought it was something that would be very good for the BVI, and so that's why we entered in it. In the event, the flight did not happen for several reasons, which and so therefore we are pursuing a resolution to our arrangements with the company.
And that's a legal aspect.
Yeah.
So we want to thank the Premier for his time this morning and his one-on-one. We thank you the video for coming on. So we'll call the end to this press conference right now. Thank you, Premier.
Thank you.